Speaking about artists, I know that the biggest thing right now online is the debacle, in hip hop, the beef, I guess.
Wasn't a debacle.
It was,
I guess. It was one of the greatest weekends of all time.
I guess, and I talked about it on Olay and Friends. We do have a part 2 coming out. I believe it's going to drop this Sunday. Because when we first talked about it, it was just the beginning. And then so much developed literally that day. And so we recorded again and we had the conversation. But
did you record on Monday after?
Did
you record after 616 came out?
Yes.
Okay.
So now we got.
Did you record post shooting outside the mansion?
No. So see, so much development has gone on.
Shootings now.
So much development. So between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, and Drake's The Heart didn't do what it needed to do, but Kendrick Lamar's They Not Like Us, Not Like Us was the one that dropped, and he, had the beat. It's something that I've never stepped.
It's becoming the anthem of
the Grams. Was that the other one?
I've never. Meet the Grams was one of them. But that They Not Like Us was something that he did outside of what he usually does, and he took a bop, something that Drake would do, and literally made a banger in a diss song where we can twerk to, we can step in the name of hate, and that is crazy. Stepping in the name of hate is crazy. Where he's telling us to,
by the way,
step,
and when you see all the step videos to it,
it's crazy. It's crazy. And then Drake dropped The Heart, trying to be Mr. Morale, which is what Kendrick Lamar usually does, and it didn't give. And so I don't know where it's going now, but now people are. Drake's security guard had got shot at his home in Toronto, and then somebody tried to break in, I think, on Today. And so these things are what's coming out with the beef. We haven't heard any responses from Kendrick since he dropped that one track that has sat at number 1. It's sat at number 1. But I think the thing about
Toronto.
Yeah, it's number 1. And here, I think the conversation that we were bringing out, what we talked about on the first one, and we didn't even know Kendrick was going to talk about it in his song, Not Like Us, because when we were talking about it in the original Olay and Friends, the first part, we were just talking about how Drake operates in whiteness, going places and wearing people's cultures, whether it's in Atlanta, Texas, whether it's in Jamaica, the Caribbean, whether it's in
There's
Africa.
That picture of him sitting with, what is it, the soccer team or something?
Yeah, and then he goes from,
he's dressed up like them. Like, what are you doing, bro?
He changes his clothes to dress up for any sport. He goes for whoever's the hottest thing at the time. And so our conversation was more aligned with Drake just being able to go in and out of the cultures, and not to say that we don't like Drake songs. I love Drake songs. I actually know more Drake songs than I know Kendrick Lamar songs. However, what we're talking about, this beef and the artistry of it, and the hip hop being what it actually is, Kendrick Lamar verbally and all those things represents hip hop, and he is true to who he is. And
Drake's a pop artist.
Yeah, I mean, he's a rapper, but Drake
he's a pop artist.
Drake can sit and be black if he wants to be one day. Like, we know he's black. He's biracial, and he's black, but he can be black one day, and then he can go and be white one day. He can just do all of these things. And to me, his audience, is everyone, which is fine. It's great. But that same audience are people who can go into these conversations and say things that are not that are against Black people and be fine. And Drake say nothing about it. To me, Drake operates, and I said, this is what we try to say. Somebody operating in white privilege or whiteness, or what we call that in the Black community, we'll say if somebody's operating in whiteness, it's like white privilege, moving in that. And that could be systemic. It's officers, to me, I will say they're operating in whiteness, a systemic thing. They're moving. You could be a Black officer. That's what we were trying to say. Him as an artist, he can just operate in that. He has, the ability to do that, be a chameleon and things like that. But you've never heard Drake, and not that he has to, because none of the artists have to speak about issues, right? They don't have to speak about that. But yet you want to be Black so bad. Like, you want that title so bad. And it's like, you're already that. You can be that. But your audience, it gets problematic, especially in this case. It brings people out like Vlad, right? Who is a white man who does interviews with Black artists, rap artists.
Yeah, people don't know he runs Vlad TV.
Yeah, Vlad TV, particularly like Boosie. And we know how problematic his stuff can be. He's somebody who centers himself around artists who are problematic in the hip hop community.
I call him Bussy.
And he does all that. So what he did on the other day, he said Kendrick Lamar's song, Not Like Us, he tweeted out, hey, that song, I guess the beat suck or something. And there was a woman who was a professor at Princeton, and I believe she taught hip hop there. I'm not sure, but she's a professor at Princeton, and she just tweeted back to him and said, this is a conversation for Black folk, like whatever. He wrote her back, oh, is that how you talk to your students? Because he's white.
White people aren't allowed to have an opinion. He wanted to speak to the manager so fast.
Yeah, so fast. That was very white of him. That was very white of him. And he said to her, though, this is my problem. This is where they use their whiteness. Because your platform is built from Blackness. Like, we built that platform up. The people that you talk to, the discussions that are very problematic, that's all. Like, your platform got built from from talking to Black people. And then he said to her, because he knows Princeton is basically a PWI, a predominantly white institution. And he said, is that how you talk to your students? Is that how you talk to your students? And I said, hold on now. He said, I'm going to talk to Princeton on Monday. So, and they'll hear about this. Everybody was
so saying, outrageous to me.
It was pretty white. And then she said, my time there is done. I'm not teaching right now. It's finished. Like she said, we're at the end of the semester. I did what I need to do. But my conversation was to you. And I was telling you how it wasn't like, especially for his position in hip hop, he's problematic. So we don't need you speaking on it from your one perspective that we know is going to be wrong, but we know it's going to be problematic for you to get clicks, likes, all those things. So we don't want you in this conversation. It was particularly for him and how we know he's problematic in hip hop. And he felt like I could say what I want to say. It's one of those moments where, oh, you didn't let me say the ER. Okay, then I'm really going to show out. And that was the problem there. And then he got a lot of backlash about it. He doubled down on it. And then he got a lot of backlash about it. And then he said on Monday, it's Monday and I haven't done it. And I thought of, and I haven't reached out, but it just goes to show like how you guys how we can talk online. I should be able to speak online. And then I think yesterday he put out another one and said, after reflection, what I said was wrong because it's affecting his dollars. It's affecting his audience. It's affecting his. So he had to apologize. He didn't want to apologize. He wanted to stand 10 toes down on that. But those are the type of people that, to me, Drake brings out like and gives them the ability to just feel like, hey, I can say what I want. Drake would never say, hey, this ain't. He would never tell his audience to pipe down or this is not the problem or da-da-da-da. He ain't that type. And it also goes to show that J. Cole, who is also biracial, he presents himself as Black. He identifies as Black. And we never question it, who he is or how he is. He just is who he is. Drake is just somebody we just never know. Who are you? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? Pick a side. The conversation that somebody tried to utilize in the argument or in the conversation that we were having was that, Drake came out and he never knew who he was. They didn't pick him on the Black side and they didn't pick him on the white side. And so he had to just go through. No, y'all, listen, if you walking around here and you think you Black, you're biracial and you're Black, you identify as Black, you were raised as Black or whatever. Or if you want to identify as white, even though America 3-drop rule, whatever, you Black. If however you want to identify, nobody has a problem with that, but just be true to who you are, kind of thing. But this conversation has gotten legs and just ran everywhere. But what Kendrick Lamar said in his song was everything that we talked about. He's like, you aren't somebody, you're actually a problem to hip hop. You're like a cultural vulture, but you also are a problem when it comes to issues and things like that. You never speak up. And in hip hop, this is what it's truly about. And, that's what kind of like he laid out in the song. And I think that's what we should focus on. Drake is a great artist, absolutely a great artist. But I think that this is some time and all the stuff that may be coming about him. How are your friends possible pedophiles? All those kind of things, and you still hanging around them. And people have actual stories that they're saying that they don't want to come out about you. And we talked about this on this platform. Our favorite people can do bad things too, right? They can be behind a lot of bad things. Even with the allegations against Kendrick Lamar, they were saying, he is a woman beater or whatever the case may be. And our favorite people can do bad things too. I just don't want to see this type of beef go into like a Biggie and Tupac type of thing. I don't want nobody getting hurt. Like, I don't know what happened. I know this thing seems more personal than we would know, but
I will say this, something that has been incredibly exciting, because I know some people get mad when you talk about this topic because they're like, why are you guys talking about this? It's not that serious. And I was like, it's grown to such a degree, though, that I think people should realize this is really cool. This is two grown men who are super famous, who are writing poems, angry poems to each other. Like, that's, everyone always talks about we should be teaching kids Shakespeare, teaching them about poetry. I was like, this is a really important moment in time, because one of them, because I don't like Drake, I love Kendrick Lamar. One of them, I think, is one of the greatest living poets on the planet. They're writing really intricate poetry. Kids can learn what a triple entendre is just by looking at this word that has 3 different ways of calling Drake a pedophile in this line. Like, that's so neat how he weaves that shit. Like, oh, that's like on that end, I think, like, people need to understand that it is larger than simply a discussion on one single part of the topic. Like, some people are like, oh, I just hate it when people are so angry or saying such mean things, or you should be making dance songs about terrible topics like, pedophilia or child abuse or things like that. Like, that's a horrifying aspect of all of this. But I'm also like, do you understand how much at the worst possible time, because the world's fucked right now, how inspiring it is to see sometimes artists be at this level, this elite. And again, I'm only talking about Kendrick. I'm a huge Drake hater. I'm not going to be able to help out there. But also, what's actually been very wholesome about this? I have noticed a lot of white people. I didn't know this because I'm huge into the hip hop community. A lot of, outside of the exceptions, like, you're talking about DJ Vlad, who fucking sucks, and there's a handful of others. There's other people. Anthony Fantano is a good example, who actually are putting in the work and the time to understand what concepts of the culture is and what this means, and like why this is a learning opportunity for so many white folk. Like, go watch that Olayemi and Friends that they made, because it's like, that's 302 level shit for all the fellow white people who don't know a lot about this topic, or don't know about the intercommunal dynamics that are happening at the same time, what a lot of these lyrics might mean, what, like, why Not Like Us is such a powerful song for a lot of different reasons. And it's, I don't know, it's been both a ride, and also it's been emotional on a weird way, because like some of the songs that came out are so haunting and dark, and powerful, and you're just sitting there and you're like, this goes beyond just like a diss track. This feels like Kendrick is owning part of his soul.
You're excited about the darkness.
Yeah, I know. What is happening? That came out the night before. Yeah, I know. It's like, oh my god, he's operating on a different level.
I just didn't realize how far this hatred goes back, because now people are pulling up like the Black Panther song that Kendrick did with SZA, and he has a little bit of a diss at Drake. Fuck you and your congratulations. I guess Drake congratulated him for outselling him. And he talks about how I hate people who feel entitled. So like, this has been bubbling up for a while. Kendrick fucking hates him. And to see him like at his best and just unleash all these feelings, it really is cool to see. I've been enjoying it. I'm also a Kendrick stan. So obviously Kendrick is the GOAT. Drake is not good. Some songs are okay, but like, I feel like
I was surprised Family Matters, because I don't know a lot of Drake. I was like, I was surprised at how hard that song went. Even the very start of it, and even like, the opening to like his flow, and even though it's gonna be like, I was trying to keep it PG. I was like, that's so Drake,
Yeah. Drake
I'm gonna be nice.
That was a reference. That was a reference to who are those guys that do videos, those funny videos about rappers? But it was a reference to, they did a video about Drake's next drop, and he said that in that video as a joke, and Drake put it into his next song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Got it.
No, but who y'all got, Kendrick or Drake?
I mean, is there anyone that's like on Team Drake? I feel like that's so clownish.
I think Kendrick's obviously. I think Kendrick is obviously the better rapper. I think there's no debate about that. I just think Drake's a pop star. Like, he's out of his element. Like, you know what I mean? He really should not have gotten into this.
He did have battle rap experience in Toronto, for the whole K-Dot battle rap scene. So
I literally have a shirt from going to one of those in 2015.
Oh, really?
Yeah, actually, that's actually where. Funny story. That's where so Drake didn't do anything there, but he was there. That's right. That's right. I saw him. He walked into a room. So at the time, my uncle was one of the owners of the place where it was happening. So we were in like some area that was closed off. Drake walks in thinking it was empty, and we lock eyes, and then he turns around and runs out.
What?
He thought the room was empty. He clearly did not want to have any conversation with anybody, so he like ran out.
You should be like,
like
Drake,
wow,
Drake.
me and Drake just looked at each other in the eyes, and he was scared and he ran off.
Did you feel anything like a connection or
No, it was just a bizarre moment because I was not expecting to see Drake walk in the room.
Oh, man, I just don't want it to get crazy. But no, who do you guys got? I said Drake or Kendrick.
Oh, Kendrick, absolutely. Even
Kendrick.
by the numbers at this point. So the very last song to put a bow on it that Drake releases, that track at first, it starts out, you're like, oh, this is gonna be neat. How's he gonna flip this? And the lyrics are essentially about how he planted all these stories, and it's all been like part of his big scheme. And we made you think that, I had a daughter, a secret daughter. We made you think that I'm a pedophile. We made you think all this kind of stuff. And then at the very end, like he's actually writing a song about like how he doesn't diddle kids. Just
he
like
literally did the "It's Always Sunny" meme.
He did the meme, and then like just like the meme, it's so bad to sit there. You're like, there's no way to like get amped up by this track and be like, hell yeah, I thought you were a predator. No, I would actually think you were a competitor if I was a predator. I was like, that's such a fucked up thing to
I would
say.
go to jail if I did any of this.
Yeah,
like, stop, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it got crazy. It got real crazy. He thought if he went, he thought if he went with the style.
That's literally the closing line. He does spoken word, and he's like, "I would think you were a competitor if I was actually a predator." That's like one of the closing lines. You're like, "Oh my god, dude!" What?
And he name drops Millie Bobby Brown when Kendrick didn't even mention Millie Bobby Brown. Like, he didn't bring her up. You brought her up.
No.
Yeah.
Did he really say that I made you all think I was a pedophile?
Yes. Yes. He says he planted the stories. He says he planted the 11-year-old story.
Got him.
People fed you information. And I was like, so you were just a lifelong creep with all this footage of you, like, kissing a 17-year-old stage, taking pictures with high school kids, making music videos about sexualized high school kids. Like that whole lifetime of creepy shit was all just, look. Drake played the long game. That was one hell of. He was just waiting. One day I'll take down Kendrick by planting a lifetime of being a super weirdo creep, and then it'll pay off.
Mm-hmm. The memes from this have been so great though, because like you have people talking about J. Cole, how he's somewhere chilling on a beach, and he actually was on a beach.
He was literally chilling on a beach.
He was literally on a beach.
That was funny. Beach, and there he was sitting on the beach and
enjoying his life.
They said he was. She said that he was writing his new album or a new song or something like that, and he really was. It's almost like he knew this is. I love that for him. Where he's like, you know what, for me. I don't want to go back to who I used to be, and I don't want my artistry to be aligned with hate. And I felt that in that time, but it was going to mess with my mental. So I backed out of it. A lot of people said that was a bitch move or like something that was weak, but
it was the right move for him for sure.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta do something that's gonna work for you, and regardless of how. This is what I love about J. Cole. This is what I'm saying. Regardless of how the world is gonna view you, what I don't like about Drake is you're so worried about how everybody views you.
Yeah,
nobody knows exactly who you are. You can't sit still in who you are, and I think that's the best thing about hip hop. A lot of artists, we already know them from when we hear them. That's them. Like this is their flow. This is something this is who they are. And I think once Drake needs to, this is what we said, and you guys will see it in the second part with Olay and Friends. Drake, this needs to hit him somewhere where he can just kind of back up and just come out, reemerge as himself. We love his, I'll say, we the people, we love his artistry. We think he's great. He is definitely, he's been on since Degrassi, right? That's the show, Degrassi. And he was popular on that show. So, he knows being in the limelight. He knows, and he may have struggles that happen there, but where he is now, I think he had a lot of people behind him. I loved him, and I know he the first person that saw him and helped put him on was Trey Songz. If people don't really know,
right, I forgot about that.
Songz was the one that gave him an opportunity and a chance, and he began to utilize that and grow and all that stuff. So, again, how Not Like Us came out and he did it on a bop beat, and I'm talking about Kendrick. Drake did the Heart. Where he broke down everything you just talked about, Lance, and he tried to go Mr. Morale. That's what they call Kendrick, Mr. Morale. And he tried to go like real soft and smooth and subtle, and it still didn't give or present because Drake, while he can wear mini coats, he tried to wear Kendrick's on that song, and it just didn't work. No, look at that, Drake's
team. Yeah,
time to shut it down.
Isn't it funny? Also, did you hear about Metro Boomin and how all of his sussy tweets came up too?
Yeah,
Damn,
and
everybody's getting exposed.
They said that,
there's like a
they
remix
said he did
competition
those.
too.
I don't know what the tweets were exactly, but I know they said that he did those tweets at people were saying like he was in his teenage years and people changed since then or something like that. I don't know exactly what the tweets were, but they said, because Metro was pretty young, and they were saying like those came out when he was in his teen years, allegedly. I don't really know what the tweets were.
I think that's true.
Yeah, they said that he was super, and he said he's grown since then or whatever. But one of the tweets that he did put out to Drake, he was like, Drake, you've done a lot of bad to people, and I'm never gonna put out. He made a track for a lot of people to do a remix to, and it's called BBL Drake. And
it's a good beat.
There's a lot of young
really
kids
mean. I know, but they're all inspired.
Beat.
They're all writing poetry.
They're all good. People's raps are coming out great. But he did say, I would say something to you, and this is all because of the track that Metro Boomin produced. This all stemmed from what Metro Boomin produced on Future's latest album, and Kendrick was featured on that song with Kendrick Lamar and Metro Boomin, and that's stemmed from there. And with that being said, like all of this, Metro was like, I could drop and say what you did, Drake. I could really say that, but that once I really let people know what you did, you would be canceled, and I don't want that type of vibe. They would really cancel you for what you've done. So like this is that to me. I'm not saying that Drake is P. Diddy, but I'm saying a lot of our favorites have done some things to people.
Have you seen all the videos, Rebecca, that are coming out though? There's like a lot of they're now I think in their mid-20s or later 20s, but like I think they were in high school at the time when Drake was starting to have mansion parties. They're all doing these videos where it's like when you knew it's all in text. It's like when you knew not to tell when you knew to tell your friends not to go to Drake's mansion party, especially when they were like 15 or 16 or things like that, and they're just going like this. Yeah, I know, and you're just like, if there is stories like it'll be one of those once one person comes forward, another person will come forward, kind of thing.
Yep. And ooh, that would be something. So I don't know what he's done, what he's been a part of, but I do know that Drake needs to take a reset. And I think, it's a heart thing. It's a personal thing. I think at this point, Kendrick's not saying anything. Kendrick doesn't come out with music often. And the fact that he was waking up every day and choosing violence and hate, and not like letting up and strategic. That means that there's something that he doesn't
after
care.
one of the tracks came out.
There's something he doesn't care to say. He doesn't care to tell us. It's really just between him and Drake, and he's just putting it in the work. But
yeah, Matt, if you weren't following it, one of the most exciting moments of the saga was when Drake releases Family Matters, which just again went harder than I ever thought it had like a right to. I was really surprised. I was like, holy shit, actually, I didn't know Drake can be this kind of mean and vicious. Like 30 minutes after that song came out, Kendrick releases his next response song, right? As in he had this one just ready, locked and loaded for whenever that was going to be dropped. And then the next day had a song in rebuttal to the one he had also released. And then the day after that had a third one. It was just like, boom.
It was
boom,
boom.
And they exciting. Were just worse than the one that came before it and ruthless. And you're just like, oh my God. Like, it was a good week.
And Not Like Us is genuinely amazing. And the fact that Kendrick has dropped the copyright so people can stream it on YouTube.
Yeah, react to it.
So fucking
and earn monetization.
It's smart.
It's really smart.
Very smart.
And make sure that his gets played over and over everywhere.
Yeah.